My name's Corinne, and I am a mom. Parents are supposed to be teachers, you know, for their children, right? I can only hope that I was a good teacher for mine. I've learned a lot from my children. And today I'd like to share with you what I've learned from my youngest daughter. Well, yeah, let's do pigs fly first. Pigs really can fly. All my children have taught me many things, but the youngest one taught me some things I'd like to share with you. But I would like for you to get to know her better. Victoria Louise Van Meter was born with humor. She brought much humor into the world. When she was born on my birthday, but at the 11th hour and 10 days late. And that's not very humorous for me. She had a fabulous imagination from the time she was very little, and it was fueled by her older sister, who managed to teach Vicki when she was very, very little that Vicki was a pig. And Vicki used to introduce herself to people as Victoria the pig. She kept that persona until my husband took her to the county fair, where he introduced her to the world's largest pig. And when she put her hands on the coarse hair of the enormous animal, I think that's when she shed the persona of a pig. But she did maintain the nickname of Hammy. She taught me a lot about wisdom from the time she was just little. We went to get some jeans for her at a department store, and as you can see, she has a very classical style. I was wanting her to try on some jeans that had frills and lace and all that, and we both got our things to try on. She tried them both on, and when she was done, I asked her, which one would you like to buy? And of course she said the one she likes. And I, with that adult pout, you know, that we get, and that manipulative manner that a parent has, say, well, maybe we should come back tomorrow or another day. And she's just little, and she looked up at me and she said, Mom, whose choice is it? I really got that one, and I never forgot it. Vicki went on to teach her family and the world a lot about courage, determination, and possibility.
Someone once said every accomplishment, great or small, starts with the right decision. That decision is I'll try. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try my best. It doesn't matter what age you are. It's just what you have in your head.
Albuquerque watched aviation history in the making this afternoon. It was all courtesy of a very young woman.
She's an 11-year-old Amelia Earhart, and she's becoming an American sweetheart.
Good afternoon. History is made today.
An 11-year-old girl becomes the youngest female pilot to fly cross-country.
It doesn't really matter what age you are. It just matters what you think and how you feel. You can, if you put your mind to anything, you can accomplish it.
Well, congratulations. How does it feel to be on a big show like mine?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Perhaps the most famous 11-year-old girl in the country right now is Victoria Van Meter.
And even a personal congratulations letter from President Bill Clinton.
Hillary and I send you our best wishes. Sincerely, Bill Clinton, President of the United States.
Each year, Reedy bestows superlative performance awards on two individuals who've engaged in feats that were revelation of pure excellence. Our first superlative award goes to an incredible 11-year-old girl who followed her dreams straight to the sky. Ladies and gentlemen, Vicki Van Meter.
Nothing's impossible, and if you set your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. I just think it will be pretty big challenge and it will be really hard, but I'm going to try my best.
She has inspired people to be better than maybe they thought they could be, maybe set some goals for themselves, and I'm proud of her for that reason because I think she's doing something important for the world.
Congratulations, Vicki, and thank you for being such an inspiration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's great to be back in the United States.
I think that this is a special person who deserves a special round of applause.
You know, it's always stunning to me to see that. People used to ask me, how could you let her fly at 10 years old? And I remember that story that she told me, you know, the story I told you about choice. I remembered her saying to me, whose choice is it, Mom? And I decided, I made the choice, that I could never allow my fear to get in the way of my child's destiny. Vicki went on to make many other choices in her life, very interesting ones. She gave up her wings for skydiving equipment, which presented its own challenge again. And she worked in a gas station when she was 14 years old, closing up at night. She was a night manager. She worked in video stores. She loved movies. She loved animals. She worked in a bookstore and a music store. She was an intern for a judge. She was an assistant for a private investigator. She graduated summa cum laude from college with a degree in criminal justice. And she was in the United States Peace Corps. She served in the country of Moldova. That's a little country in between Ukraine and Romania. And it was in rather dire circumstances, I might add. When she came back, she got a job as an insurance fraud investigator. And she applied to graduate school because she wanted to get a master's degree in psychology so she could help people. Something I haven't told you yet about Vicki, though, is that in her life, she experienced depression. And at various times, her family, her extended family, and her friends all tried to help her, but Vicki continued to make her own choices about how she would help herself. It was about 4 years ago, around our mutual birthday. My husband was in Utah, I was in North Carolina, and my 2 older children were in New York City following their life paths. And Vicki was in Pennsylvania at our home base. And it was actually 3 days after that, on my husband's birthday, when I got a phone call. He had received news from a neighbor of ours in Pennsylvania that Vicki had shot herself. I remember screaming no and melting to the floor. And I remember going to bed that night, and the room was dark, and I was by myself, and I remember putting my hands out, reaching them out into the darkness, saying, Vicki, Vicki, where are you? Where are you? The next day, I got up and got ready to go back to Pennsylvania to meet. We were all going to meet there. And I was in my computer room, and I noticed something on my computer screen, something I had taped up there weeks prior to this. And my girlfriend was having trouble. Her sister had died, and she wanted some help. And I was talking to her, and I came up with this phrase, and I thought it sounded really, really astute, so I wrote it down, and I taped it to my computer. And here I am looking at it weeks later in my time of need. It was amazing. But you know what? At that moment, I read it. I listened to it. And in that moment, I decided that I would be the rock for my family. I would understand. I would move the grief out. And I would make room for my daughter, understanding for my daughter. We all went back and we met at the funeral home. Another choice to make. Vicki was to be cremated the following day, and we had the chance to go in and see her one last time. And it was a difficult decision to go in. Didn't know whether I wanted to really do that, but I did, and I am so grateful. So grateful, because it was probably the most sacred moment I will ever have in my life. Because before me, I saw my child, my daughter, lying as a goddess with all the pain drained from her face. And I felt her presence in the room. There was a radiance, just a glorious light. I could feel it. I could feel it. I knew it was so sacred. And all I could say was, it was an honor to be your mother. And then we all felt it. We all knew it was there. And we pleaded with her to help us get through the rest of our lives. We left and went up to the house and walked in. Another difficult moment. But inside we found it. We found it. We found the lifesaver. It was a note. It was a note. And Vicki had written it. It said, "Take comfort in knowing there was nothing that anyone could have said or done to prevent this from happening." Take comfort. Those weren't words that Vicki used. But again, I had a choice. I had a choice in that moment whether to really believe what she said or not. And I did. I believed it. Take comfort. Take comfort in knowing there was nothing you could have done. And when I embraced that, my heart opened up. My heart opened up so wide. And all of the messages that she was giving to me came flooding in, along with all that love. And it changed how I felt. It changed something. It moved up into my mind. And the doors of my mind started to open with this higher understanding. It's hard for me to explain it, but I feel it. It's changed me. And it brought me peace. People would say to me, even my family, how are you getting over this? Well, you know, this is nothing you get over. But what you have to do, what I did, was change my way of thinking about it, change my way of dealing with it inside. I had to go way inside myself to feel what the truth of life is. And I decided the best way to describe it was, I find it easier to recognize her presence than to dwell on her absence. Another choice. right? Another choice. I chose to recognize her presence, and when I did, everything started to change. I made room for love. I opened my heart. It changed for me. It changed for my family and friends and people I don't even know. I see her. I feel her presence. Her presence is here right now in this moment of inspiration. She's here. I have a communication with her. I see her. I see her in nature. I sense her. She is still here. Last Thanksgiving, I was making Thanksgiving dinner for my husband and myself. I was in the kitchen, he was out in the garage, and he was talking to Vicki, something we do a lot, and he asked her to be present on that day in this celebration. And I got a phone call to go out to the garage. I went out to the garage and stood there. What do you want? He said, turn around. I turned around very slowly, and on the hood of a car, our car, not 2 feet from me, was a bird. A beautiful, beautiful bird. We were astonished. I went in the house as the nurturing mother to get food and water, and I brought it out. The bird was still there. I set it down on the hood of the car, and the bird came forward and started to eat and drink. It was amazing, truly amazing. But you know, the most amazing thing was that that bird stayed with us for 2 months. It lived in our garage. It followed my husband around as he worked, and it cooed to him, not to me, to my husband. I could hear it through the door. And when the bird left 2 months after that, my husband was more at peace. If the garage door had not been opened, the bird could have never flown in. I know that on that night when I reached my arms out to my daughter, she reached out to me, and she pulled me from a place of just believing something to knowing it. I know that love lives on. I know that energy can never be destroyed. I know that minds can expand because anything is possible. And I truly know that pigs really do fly. Thank you.